What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV, and I have some breaking news to report, and that is a shocking turn of events in a nearly 30-year-old trial. The judge who presided over the case of Michael Jordan's slain father, James Jordan, has stunningly asked parole officials to release the man who they believed unalived, or one of the men that unalived Michael Jordan's father, saying he fears the wrong guy could be behind bars. Retired Judge Gregory Weeks, who oversaw the 1996 trial, petitioned the North Carolina State Parole Board, calling on the commission to release Daniel Green, the man who was found guilty of unaliving MJ's dad in the mid-90s during a botched robbery. The reason? Judge Weeks says a forensic blood expert failed to disclose key findings during that trial, evidence that could have cast doubt as to whether Green was guilty of the horrific crime. Weeks says the expert witness never told the court testing from apparent blood in the car came back negative and or inconclusive, evidence he believed could have changed the outcome of the trial. Of course, James, who was 56 years old at the time, was tragically gunned down on July 23rd, 1993, while sleeping in his car on the side of a North Carolina highway. Prosecutors at the time said Green walked up to the vehicle and opened fire on Michael's dad, unaliving him. The now 49-year-old Green, who was then 18 when Jordan's father was unalived, was sentenced to life in prison and is currently serving his time at Southern Correctional Institute in Troy, North Carolina. Green told ABC News by phone this week, quote, "It speaks volumes about this case, and I'm overwhelmingly grateful, describing the judge's actions to free him as significant. Parole officials are now expected to deliberate for weeks or longer before deciding on Green's release sometime in the near future. Michael Jordan has not publicly spoken on this situation." Look, we all remember when this occurred, at least those of us old enough to remember. This was one of the significant factors that led to Michael Jordan's decision to retire from basketball, although there are thoughts that has something to do with the gambling scandal at the time. I don't really know, but it is what it is. Obviously, this is going to conjure up horrible memories for Michael Jordan and his family. Seeing their father, seeing their grandfather. He was married to Juanita at the time. This would be a horrible memory for her. I don't know whether Daniel Green is guilty or not with this. Look, this is the tricky stuff that prosecutors do, and this is why, right here, this is why black men have grievances. I hate to put her into this because she has nothing to do with this case, but this is why black men have grievances about a woman like Kamala, who's a former prosecutor, because this is what they do. They are more concerned about padding their record. They're more concerned about getting that conviction to pad the record, because many of these people who are prosecutors do have political ambitions. I mean, most of our presidents, at least since the 1850s, most of them have been lawyers. So many of them have most politicians in Washington are lawyers or in law. So this is what they do. So this is why we have our grievances. Look, we just saw an innocent man, more than likely an innocent man, lose his life in Missouri behind nonsense like this. You know what I'm saying? If this man was put in prison and he was not the gunman and or, you know what I'm saying, he was not involved in the situation, then that's a travesty of justice. But look, I want to say he was involved, but he may not have been the man who pulled the trigger. I don't know. But you can look at it like this. if he was involved, but he wasn't a gunman, and this was a robbery, I mean, you could look at it as, okay, he was 18 years old at the time. He did something stupid, which is try to commit a robbery, but someone else actually pulled the trigger. And if it wasn't him, you could say, well, look, he's already served 30-some years in prison. Maybe it is time to let him go if he didn't actually commit an act that led to to James Jordan losing his life that night. I don't know, man. I don't know, you know what I'm saying, whether or not he's innocent or not. But if he is innocent, then that is disgusting that they left that out. That was omitted from the case. That they didn't report that. But that's the shady stuff that they do when they're trying to get convictions on, especially a high-profile case like this. Back then, come on now, you know they were going to do that. But this, like I said, this is what prosecutors do. We read all about how old girl was doing this. They do shady stuff like that. The criminal injustice system is not a justice system. If you are a black person or anybody that's not of means, if you're poor, the system is not meant for you. And that's if you're black, white, Hispanic. If you're poor, the system is not for you. You know what I'm saying? But I will definitely be following this case, this situation, I should say, not necessarily a case, but I'll definitely be following this situation for any updates. I don't know if Michael Jordan's going to speak on this right now. I guess eventually he will speak on this. Like I said, this is something that obviously is a traumatic situation. You know, obviously his mother, Dolores, this would be a horrible tragedy. If they come out, if Dolores comes out and weighs on this situation, if she comes out and she looks at the evidence and she is where I want to look. That's where I'm looking for. If she comes out as an advocate, if she grows to believe that this man may be innocent and that there's a person who hasn't been brought to justice, who actually was the gunman in that horrible incident, then maybe that increases the likelihood that this guy will be paroled. But this is, I'm telling you, man, you know, I don't know enough about this case to really, you know, say, oh, well, he definitely did it, or this, you know, it happened so long ago. I don't remember. I remember there being two people involved. One was the gunman, supposedly was green. That's all I remember about it. But if they withheld evidence, and you know how shady North Carolina was, and continue to be, but especially then, you know, I'll just say this, props to the judge. You know what I'm saying? If he saw that there was a travesty of justice in this situation and he wants to rectify a wrong as best he could, then props to him. I don't want to come on here and advocate that somebody's innocent and they're not. You know what I'm saying? If the evidence, if that blood sample evidence was, as they said, came back negative and or inconclusive, that doesn't necessarily 100% means that he didn't do it. But, you get convictions based upon innocent without reasonable doubt. Well, that would create reasonable doubt. So he should have gotten another trial. So this is by the law, excuse me, by the law, and morally, it's wrong. Yeah. So I have to agree with that. But I can't sit up here and definitively say that he's innocent. So this is something we got to look at and follow. But tell me what you guys think.